I'd like to welcome you to the Tabernacle here on Temple Square in Salt Lake City. This is the home of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Some might call it America's Choir. The Mormon Tabernacle Choir was organized in 1847 when the first pioneers came into this valley. It was a small group of people who met in a Bowery type building, very rustic, and they asked for a choir to perform. But it was in 1849 that Welsh pioneers came to the valley, and they sang in four-part harmony, they sang in Welsh, and that's when President Brigham Young really decided you need to be the nucleus of a great choir. So it really started 1847, 1849. They used to sing in a building over on the square that was just a temporary building, but they called it the Tabernacle. And that's how the name came, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. When that was too small, they started building this particular building, which was in the late 1860s. It was completed at the end of the Civil War. And the choir moved into this building at that time, and the tabernacle here has been the home of the choir ever since. As we have visitors come to Temple Square and we invite them into the tabernacle, one of the things they first noticed is that imposing instrument that's behind me, the organ, built by early pioneer stock, and it becomes the centerpiece for people to begin to look at and think, wow, this is really an amazing experience. Then we seat the choir in front of them, and it makes a great picture.
Whenever you see a photograph of the choir, this organ is right there in the center of the photograph, and it's been accompanying the choir since the organ was put in 1867, because the choir's been around that long and even longer. Crescendo. This is the oldest building on Temple Square. It's even older than the temple itself, and the oldest thing inside of the tabernacle is this organ case. So these gold pipes next to me here have looked down on decades and decades of history and have seen all kinds of things. Lots of American presidents have spoken from the pulpit and have seen the choir perform here, so there's a lot of history in this organ case and in the building. The sound of the tabernacle organ is really unique. This instrument, most of the pipes were built by the Ailey and Skinner Organ Company in 1948, and it was considered their magnum opus. The president of that company really considered this one of his finest, if not the finest instrument that he built. And part of that is because the pipes are so beautifully voiced for the room, but part of it is the room itself. This dome ceiling does a remarkable job of projecting even the softest sound from the organ with great clarity to the back of the room. So the sound just envelops you. It's like a warm bath when you hear this organ play. As you can imagine, when you're accompanying a choir this large and this well-trained and this passionate about what they're doing, it's a hair-raising experience every time. Whenever I sit on this bench and I hear those voices, it's this huge wall of sound just going over me and then going out into the room. And it's still electrifying. I've been accompanying the choir for I think 23 years now, and I'm still thrilled as much as I was the first time I heard them. One great story has to do with Helen Keller, who was here back in the early 1900s and spoke at the pulpit just behind where I'm seated here. And if you can call it speaking, and we know that her situation, she was deprived of her eyesight and learned to speak in a very guttural voice. But she came here and gave a presentation to a packed house. And when she had finished, they asked if there was anything she would like, and she said, "I'd like to hear your famous organ play." And so the organist came over and he played "Come, Come Ye Saints," which is a hymn that's strongly identified with the church. And the president of the church walked her up, right up there to the organ case, and placed her hand on the wood of the case. And a person said that, who was there at the time, said that Helen Keller just wept as she felt the throbbing of the great instrument and the sound of those pipes playing the song that the pioneers had sang as they came across the plains. There's something unique about this choir that comes across to audiences, and I think it's a combination of things. It's not just the size of the choir, it's not just how well trained they are and well rehearsed and how professional they are, but I think it's their sincerity about their message. And when they turn to the audience at the end of any performance or the broadcast to sing "God Be With You Till We Meet Again," I see tears in the eyes of the people out there, and I know the stories of the choir members. I know what they're going through in their families, and I know they're really singing from the heart, and that comes across when the audience hears them sing.